Hey Magic Makers, so tonight we are on our way to a ghost walk in Old Town Spring. And this will be our first time. I'm super excited. We're going with Houston Ghost Tours. The whole family gets to go. So we're going to take and show you guys our tour tonight. So let's go. Poltergeist Bridge. Okay, I don't know what's happening with my camera, but it's starting to tick me off. I think. Sorry. We're on our way to the Houston Ghost Tours in Old Town Spring. We're gonna go check it out. They said that this is one of the most haunted. What was it? One of the sixth most haunted. The sixth most haunted place, and it was part of the Wild West. It was a Wild West town, they're saying. So we're gonna go check it out. They've got a lot of stories and see what happens. Check out the history and have some fun. Hello. Hi. So this is our ghost host today.
My name is Michael. I'll be y'all's tour guide tonight. And I've been looking forward to this. This group officially marks the Halloween season for us. And I've been looking forward to this. So I'm looking to make this a good tour. I'm like pretty much the only tour guide until we get a little bit busier out here. And it has been crazy out here. Like first, second stops, we've been getting pictures. People have been getting experiences. There's a lot of locations that have like heaviness, a lot of feels. They've been like right on with that. I've even been like talking to some of these shop owners, and they've been like verifying our stories. It's been really good out here. So Old Town Spring is the 5th most haunted town in the United States. I always forget all 4 that are ahead of us. I know for sure New Orleans, Gettysburg. There's a place in Georgia, I think. Yeah, there's a place in Florida. I can never remember all 4, but we're definitely up there. We get people coming from all over the world to check this out. We'll probably run into some ghost hunters out here. There's some people that come to their own little independent hunts. They're always out here. Has anybody ever been to Old Town Spring before? Okay, got some hands, got some no's. For the ones that haven't been here, I could just start making up stuff. Y'all wouldn't even know. I'm just kidding. I would not do that. How about ghost tour? Anybody ever been on a ghost tour before? Oh, got a lot of hands up on that. Y'all can start naming some of the places y'all been.
Galveston.
Oh, no way. Did you do the walking tour?
No, we did the Segway tour.
Oh, cool. That's a new one. How was that?
It was a new tour.
I hear nothing but good stuff about
Yeah, covered a lot of the islands, actually.
Yeah, that would be a good way to cover some ground. What about ghosts? Anybody ever seen a ghost, heard a ghost, felt one? Think you have? No. Well, there's always tonight.
Grand Galvez Hotel in Galveston.
Oh, yeah? Well, all right. We might be relying on you then for some pictures if you're the one. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
What about some history? Do you want to hear about some of the history of the town?
Yeah.
All right. I'm not used to getting many yeses on that. So I won't bore you to death.
Well, I'll be honest. I didn't realize Old Town Spring was actually old.
It is. It's pretty old, I guess, for American history. It's pretty old. They start getting the people from UK. We're nothing to them, but we do have some good history out here. So the area was originally settled by the local Native Americans. They were the Orcaqueesac tribe. They were pretty peaceful people. They got along with just about everyone. They were just kind of semi-nomadic from Spring Creek to Galveston and back, following the seasons, basically just trying to survive. By the mid-1800s, a lot of immigrants started making their way over here, and most of the ones that landed here were German or Dutch, as you can tell by a lot of the architecture. But we got all kinds, France, Spain, you name it, really. They would come through Galveston, which was our first main port, and Spring was kind of our first main town that people would come and rest and eat on their way to other destinations. We're coming from Germany, Europe, wherever. It would take up to 6 months by boat to get here. What's the first thing I would want to do after being stuck in a boat for 6 months, finally hitting dry land? Oh my God. I mean, not to spoil anything, but you pretty much nailed it. Most people say like kiss the ground or take a shower, eat some fresh food, but they got here one to party. They're pretty wild when they drink, finding somebody to drink with. It basically became a big giant party town. They set up a trading post with the Orcaqueesac, created commerce in the area, but they didn't waste any time because by the early 1900s, they had already built a brothel and a saloon, turning into a legit little wild town. They say throughout history, there were no gentlemen here. By the end of the tour, y'all will see why. There was very few. So Spring is also a railroad town. They set it up acoustically to where you could hear that train up to 10 miles away. And that was for a lot of the farmers that lived on the outskirts. Most of them couldn't afford clocks or watches. Back then, you could set your time to the train. It was always on time. Today, we still have a good chance of hitting it. As soon as we get close to the tracks, they show up, and it's almost guaranteed. So if it happens, we'll try to take some pictures and get away from it fast as we can. In 1902, when the railroad came through, they wanted this land from the Orcaquissac, and they would use any means necessary. They're actually the ones that invented eminent domain, which means you don't have to agree to a sale. If they want your land, they can just come in and take it. And that's exactly what they did. Pushed the Orcaquissac all the way out of town, where they ended up in Louisiana. We can still find some of their family living today. It is said, though, as they got pushed out, the elders and the shamans put a curse on this land. That curse was that if you built anything, moved anything, or cut anything down, your building would burn to the ground, and nothing will ever drive you. It's another thing that's pretty true today. I tell people that view changes out here week to week, and it's no exaggeration. These shops come and go. It's just kind of a sad truth. Go look across the street at that little bitty square building with the pillars in the front and the lights in the window. It says Turkish Coffee House. You see anything weird about that building? I really need my flashlight out here.
Tree growing out of it?
Oh, a tree growing through.
Oh, I can tell who has good eyes. So it looks like it's behind it, but that tree is directly in the middle of that building. They built that building around the tree. They were afraid to cut it down. They didn't want their building to burn down or go out of business. Now it's cool because you can actually see it from here, the plastic that surrounds it, that just kind of funnels the water from the hole in the ceiling down to the floor.
Wow.
And if you ever come back during the day, this building a door or two down that's kind of like yellow and blue, in either of those alleys, there's two other buildings with trees growing through them. And several others scattered all throughout town, all for that same reason. So, this curse. Still dealing with it, even after 120 years. Like I said, fires all the time, almost weekly. So many, after our last big one we had, the fire department here in town, we can't do it, we need help. So they built a big, giant, modern one on Loetta that we rely on 24/7. The town, throughout history, has almost completely burned down 5 separate times, aside from a few of the originals that we have. We do our best, of course, to take care of what we got. You know, we have smoke alarms, fire alarms, do our best, but we believe all these buildings have spirits attached to them. And they kind of consider these their buildings at this point. They won't let anything bad happen to them. Get fires, hurricanes, floods, this whole town to be demolished. And these original buildings managed to stay untouched. This white one behind me, and you can't really see it from the bushes, is a great example. That last hurricane we had about a year or so ago, they had a tree in the courtyard you couldn't even put your arms around. It blew over towards the house. It missed it by like maybe 2 feet. Ended up ripping all the wires out of the building, but at least we managed to save it. It's one of our favorites. In the 1930s, the population here went from about 4,000 people to right around 100, almost overnight. Can anybody guess what may have caused that in the 30s? Oil? That's a great guess, and I'm sure there's a truth to that. What got us out here was Great Depression, of course. But what really affected us here in Spring was Prohibition. We really like our drink out here. Out of those 100 or so people that stayed, almost all of them making moonshine, making illegal liquor. Well, if you take the gambling, the booze out of Vegas, you just have empty buildings in the desert. And that's kind of what happened here. We went from a bustling town to pretty much a ghost town. Speaking of ghost towns, this is what it looks like every night after 5. Most of these shop owners are very aware of this curse and the spirits, and they take it serious. As soon as it turns dark, they close up shop and they're out of here. When I'm out here during the day shopping, I make it a point to ask all these shop owners, like, hey, anything weird happened in your building? Anything you can't explain? They almost all say yes. Very few will even talk about it for fear of stirring it up. Notice I didn't say all. There are a few out here that don't play by the rules, and we'll point them out too. They're pretty obvious once you see it. So just imagine what it was like as we walked through town. The heyday here was between the 1900s and the 1930s. And we kind of had it all. The gangsters, the hustlers, the boozers, the prostitutes, even a murderer sprinkled in here and there. So it was good times. Before we get started, this is actually where I tell you to watch all the cars driving up and down here at 70 miles an hour. But the construction's slowing them down a little bit, but they're still out here. So please look out for them. They're definitely not going to look out for us. We're a manageable size group, we should be fine. But if one of y'all die on my tour tonight, you will be on my tour tomorrow. So I'll be safe. We're about to hit pretty much every terrain. A lot of bumps, curbs. It's going to be uneven everywhere. So just watch y'all step as we go. And there's a few places that are dark, but feel free to use your flashlights as you need them. If everyone's ready, we can hit the first spot. So welcome to Whitehall. Whitehall is now rented out by Spirit Quest Center. They're a spiritual store with crystals and incense, all that good stuff. The building was built in 1895 by the Mintz family. They ended up building it for $300 bucks. Nowadays the rent's like $3,500 a month, so times have changed a little bit. They ended up selling it in 1902 to the railroad, and it became the first boarding house for all the workers. The railroad owned it until about the 30s, when they ended up selling it to Clyde Funeral Home. Like all familiar with Clyde? It's just like a local old name, pretty much a founding family. They've got like 5 school districts, a chain of funeral homes now. When you get a funeral home in here, you start getting dead bodies in there, weird stuff starts happening. This is where our first ghost story starts. In the early 1930s, a young newlywed couple, they were headed home from their wedding. They were headed towards Spring Creek Bridge, just a few miles from here, when they started to argue. As they got close to the bridge, the husband wasn't paying attention. He ended up driving over the side into the ravine, where he bashed his head on the steering wheel, and his bride hit her head on the dashboard. Now, they didn't die, but they were in bad shape. They needed help quick. The only problem was, back then we had no hospital, no doctor, no medical care at all. The next best thing we had was the funeral home. So the ambulance knew this was the closest place. They bring him here, they patch him up, do what they can. But like I said, it's looking grim. They ended up bringing them upstairs, laying them in side-by-side beds, where the husband holds his wife's hand, professes love to her as she passes away. The husband ended up living, but he never remarried, he never dated, he died pretty young. We believe he died of a broken heart. The Ghost Bride. Unfortunately, we don't know her name, we just know her as the Ghost Bride. She's one of our most active spirits out here. Oh, this is actually the place where my guest saw the apparition, right in front of that green door with the gold knocker. And like I said, the only reason I believe her is she described the spirit as we know her. Whenever we see her, she's in a full bridal gown and a veil, and her face kind of looks like the Day of the Dead mask, like the sugar skull. I have a picture to show you at the end, so don't let me forget, it's my best one. I think she's beautiful, y'all probably disagree, she's pretty creepy. So normally when we get her, we see her in pictures and videos. We'll get her in the courtyard, we'll get her up on the porch, we'll get her on the balcony, and you can just see the chains to the rocking bench up there. We'll get pictures of the bride and the groom on that bench. But the most common places we see her are in the upstairs windows where she passed. We'll get her in these windows and in the front, and we'll end at the front side as well. A lot of times whenever I'm out here too, these bushes are really overgrown. People say they see those curtains moving a lot while I'm talking. Let's fast forward a little bit to the 1950s. When this place was still Clyde Funeral Home, they ended up selling it to a group of hippies. It became a hippie company for a while. Interesting transition, especially here in Texas. Well, if y'all know anything about hippies, they like to see things that aren't really there. So they're fully aware of what's going on. But really, it's affecting them so much every night that they can't even sleep. Same thing, every night. Disembodied moans and voices. Furniture dragging loudly across the floor would be rearranged in the morning. A couple of guys said the ends of their beds were being shaken up and down. Basically what they had was a poltergeist. But a poltergeist is just a German word for noisy spirit. That's exactly what they had. That's the ones like rattling chains, the moans, the voices, knocking stuff over. So they band together, come up with an idea to try to get rid of all this. And they ended up ripping the whole house up of all the copper pipes and all the copper wires. And that was because copper conducts electricity. They're just trying to get rid of the EMF, the electromagnetic field. They say that your body can use that energy or turn into that energy when you pass. So they're just trying to remove that. They take all that copper, sell it, a couple $100 bucks. They ended up building a room upstairs with that money. It wasn't anything fancy, it was very small and basic, but they had to keep it empty. As long as they did, all the activity went away and they could actually sleep. But the first time they tried to use it as storage, they put a box in there, hang something on the wall, start all over again. With the moans, the voices, the furniture moving. So it's like the bride just wanted her own room, even in the afterlife. These empty rooms are a theme in town, and I'll point those out as we go. And it's kind of a tool you would use for towns like this, where they're all inadvertently trapped here. They've all had paranormal teams in these buildings, and it doesn't really seem to work. It's a form of respect, I guess, in a way. And they seem to work for the most part. But the weird thing about this building is they have it written in their lease that if you want to keep the peace and keep the quiet, to keep that room empty still. Weird thing to put in the lease, but like I said, weird town. So I encourage y'all to take a lot of pictures, as many as you'd like. But try to take at least 2 of everything, just so you have something to compare it to. There's 3 main things out here that we look for. The first one are the orbs, the little floating balls of light you'll see, a lot of times with the ring of energy. And we'll see different colors, which could correspond with how they're feeling. See green ones, blue ones, could mean sad or confused. Red, we believe, means angry. White seems to be the most common that we get. It just means they're moving around. Second one are the vortexes. It's kind of like the swirls of smoke or mist that you'll see, and everything else is usually in focus. These are kind of tricky. They're hard to spot a lot of times, but I have a really good example to show y'all. So really everybody's after that third one. It's the Holy Grail. That's the apparition. That's when you see somebody standing in your photo, and you know nobody was standing there. Wait for everybody to get on that bridge before I tell you that it's got a name. And it is the Poltergeist Bridge.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Alright, well, welcome to Doering Court Archway. So I noticed that there's another group in here, so I figured I might as well tell y'all the story about Poltergeist Bridge. It's not really a good place to tell the story anyways for the mosquitoes. Well, there is a spirit attached to that location, and it's the spirit of Elena Wunsche. She was a granddaughter of one of the Wunsche Brothers, and the story is about her and her boyfriend Edward Stone. And Edward was the local town mechanic, and he was actually one of the few good guys out here. He had no enemies. Elena and Edward, they were working on having a shotgun wedding. They were doing their best to hide a possible pregnancy. You know, back then it was a lot more taboo to have a baby out of wedlock. So they were doing their best, but it's kind of well known that the town figured it out by now. So one day, Edward, he was just working on one of his friends here in town, Mac's car. He had finished it up and he went to Mac's house to tell him he's done, come get it whenever. When he gets on Mac's porch, he hears a bunch of commotion and moving around and voices. Without even thinking, he gets worried for his friend and just opens the front door. When he opens it, he sees Mac and all of the local police making moonshine. So he knew when he saw it, he probably saw too much. All the blood drained from his face. He tries to close the door as quietly as he could, but it was too late. He had been spotted. It was one of the last times he had ever been seen alive. He ran home to Elena, said, "Hey, pack a bag, we gotta go. We gotta lay low, I'll explain everything, come on." They pack a bag, they get in his car, but they never make it out of town. 7 or 8 hours later that day, the police got a call about a car sitting and running with both of its doors open on the other end of town, and I'll point that out when we go through. When they get there, they go around with both doors open, running. They get to the driver's side, they see a man slipped over the steering wheel. Pull him back, they see that it's Edward with a gunshot to his chest. They go around to the passenger side, and they start seeing these blood drops here and there. They start noticing that blood starts making a trail. They follow that blood all the way to Poltergeist Bridge, where they end up finding Elena, face down in the ditch with a gunshot to her chest. So the theory is they knew the shooter. They both got shot in the chest. But you could probably figure that it was the local police that did it. They were trying to bury it, move past it, and move on as fast as they could. But since they were such a well-known family, they were even known outside of town, Houston, Trinity, and Galveston sent their own investigators out. And they rounded up 12 suspects, and they all ended up having alibis. A few years later, some bank robbers got arrested in El Paso, and they were bragging about killing Elena and Edward. And so they went and interrogated them, and it just ended up that they were bragging, they were lying. This has been an unsolved case this whole time. You can look through the records and find Elena's death certificate, and cause of death has been rewritten and scratched out 3 separate times before finally being handwritten murder. And that was in 1996. That's how long this case has been going. It's a very, very sad story. And I'll show y'all the secondary spot where the car was found. Welcome to Doering Court Archway. I think I already said that. So Doering Court is a nice little place, like kind of chill, places to sit, little shops everywhere. At least chill during the day. But it's named after one of the worst guys I'm going to tell y'all about tonight. It doesn't make any sense why they named such a nice place after such an awful guy. Well, we're about to cross under this archway. We have archways all over town. Kind of have them concentrated more so in this area for all the things that Judge Doering has done. We consider those archways that we walked under. We use them because of the Celtic belief that if you have a place that's being haunted and you put an archway there, it kind of locks them in that area. They can't follow us home. They can't go haunt somewhere else. They have to pretty much stay here. You'll see them a lot in cemeteries, almost always out of a natural material, and almost always has a name over the top. We have to pay attention to how you feel walking under this one. Doering Court is a unique place. It's got its own little vibe. You might start feeling weird, out of the ordinary, dizzy, nauseous. You might start hearing things like singing, voices, screaming, laughter. You might even smell things like perfumes, colognes, tobaccos. And we get this other parts of town, not just Doering Court. So before I build it up too much, we can go ahead and head inside, try to find a room for ourselves.
Let's do it.
It would explain a lot of the way they do some of their stuff now.
Alright, so welcome to Doering Court. Doering Court, it's the house of Judge Doering, this White House that's actually behind y'all. Was his house. They built it in 1906, and he was our judge from 1908 to 1930. And from then on, his son took over. And his son was not much better, I promise. So Judge Doering, he was a lot of things. He was a bad guy. He was an alcoholic. He drank way more than one person ever should. From the time he woke up to the time he passed out, glass in his hand. While he was judge, he was the biggest distributor of moonshine in town. So he was kind of like running the show. He had everybody under his thumb. And everybody was just trying to make a buck in town. So they didn't want to get out of that circle. But really, they didn't want to end up on Judge Doering's bad side. Because if you ended up on his bad side, there was a good chance you'd end up dead. He was obsessed with hanging, torturing, and killing people. To the level that was out of control. And it took the town years to go against him. So Judge Doering claimed he could see the devil in a criminal's eye. If he saw that devil in your eye, he said he could kill the devil out of you. The way he would do that is he would hang you from that tree that we walked by. That was immediately that we walked by. That was his hanging tree. And the tree was very convenient for Judge because this window, right on the other side of this house where the window unit is, was his bedroom window. And he loved looking out at who he had up there. He was a pretty sick guy. And he wasn't hanging people like you see on TV where they drop you off the plank, snap your neck. He just had people strapped to that tree, basically. And he'd have 3 people at a time on that tree, and he would leave you up there for 3 days and 3 nights, hanging by 3 ropes. That was for a couple of reasons. He claimed that he was religious, that he believed in the Holy Trinity. He thought if he left you up there for 3 days and 3 nights, that he was saving your soul. He was convinced he was doing you a favor. I think the real reason is that the coroner lived in Houston, and he still drove a horse and buggy. So it would take him up to 3 days to get here. The judge knew that. He knew he had time to do whatever he wanted to you up there. He would use those 3 ropes because that was his favorite torture method. He would put 1 rope around your neck, 1 rope around your waist, and 1 rope looped around your thighs, and he would tighten these at different intervals. He would call that pulling your strings. The rope around your neck would choke you, the rope around your waist would suffocate you, and the rope around your leg would cut off circulation, eventually cause you to slump over, start choking yourself. All while he's berating you, beating you, convinced everybody's got info. He's hiding something. These are just folks getting off the train to eat and rest, just normal people. On record, Judge Doering hanged 48 people from that tree, but he only kept records of white people. So we believe that number is well over 100. We're sticking to that official number. That's half the population at the time. It didn't take much. Come off the train, bump into him, allergies, hungover. It's a good chance you might end up on his tree. I'm telling you, it didn't take a lot. They found out after he died that he was losing his mind. He was really going crazy. Big surprise. And it was due to a fungus called ergot. Ergot grows on wheat, in his case on rye. A lot of the Germans brought rye over. Everybody was eating it, but this guy was using it to make moonshine. He was making moonshine inside in his lead bathtub. So, evil man, not a very smart one. He's pretty much poisoning himself twice because this ergot is no joke. In large doses, you would have organ failure, heart failure, and die. Smaller doses, like what Judge was taking, is you would lose your mind, hallucinate and lose your mind over time. And this is what the whole town was drinking on, just not at his level. So maybe they're feeling the effects too. I'm not giving them an out. So anytime you saw him drinking, had a glass in his hand, always drinking. Anytime you may have seen him sober, completely goes away the morning his wife Ella goes across the street. And she was born Ella Klein. Can't really see quite from here, but across the street, a few doors down, her friend had a little deli shop across that street. She was just going over there to say hi. Well, as she goes across the street, she gets hit by a horse and buggy. It hit her so hard, her head splits open on the ground, she dies instantly. Her friend across the street saw this, came running to try to help, And as she goes across, she gets hit by another horse and buggy coming the other direction, killing her instantly. You think they'd hear them coming, you think they'd be cruising through town. But it's historical fact. These two ladies died side by side out there. And they say that the deli shop owner turned into a poltergeist herself. So, you know, you're out here, ghost hunting, a lot of people are, 2 or 3 in the morning. You hear voices enticing you to come stand in the street to get hit by a car. And she sounds nice. So 2 down out of 100, big blow to the population. But it's a bigger blow to Judge Doering because he's expected to go right back to work, take care of his 4 kids all by himself, including his youngest, Marilyn. Marilyn, she was a normal 12-year-old girl. Her favorite thing to do was to play with her best friend, Sarah. Sarah lived over on Main, kind of close to where we start, but not too far from here. These two, inseparable. They went everywhere together. They'd be all around this house, all around this courtyard, making circles around it, running around all the time. Marilyn lived here as Judge Doering's daughter. Sarah lived across town on Main Street. But these two went everywhere together, always together, every single day. They'd be in this courtyard, laying around, playing tag, playing chase. They loved Ring Around the Rosie, which is pretty dark on its own. But their other favorite place to play was in this barn that is now the dugout. They like to play upstairs where they had the hay bales stored, and where these windows are on the side with the bars. Of course the bars weren't there, but those 2 windows, it was just a hole, like a big hole where they would winch the hay bales back and forth.
Does that play on the
Oh, I think it's for Halloween. I think they have something there too.
Oh, they have something up there?
It's moving.
Oh, it's moving?
Upstairs window.
Well, it's full away now.
It's on.
It's like a tiny doll, like it's all.
No. Somebody's messing with us.
Yeah.
Nice. Getting in the spirit. So they just used that hole for the hay bales. They would store the hay bales back and forth. So one day, Sarah and Marilyn, they're up there playing, getting a little too carried away, getting a little too crazy. Sarah gets close to that opening, loses her balance, and falls out. She ends up landing just right on her leg and ends up breaking her femur. And they say that's one of the most painful bones you can break. This poor girl just broke her so bad, the bone is poking through the skin. So of course she starts screaming. Marilyn peeks over and sees it, and she starts screaming. So Judge Doering comes running out to see what's going on, and if he was sane or sober, would have scooped her up and brought her to her family. Well, he wasn't, so he didn't. He picks her up, brings her upstairs, lays her on his bed, pours some of that ergot whiskey on the wound, sets the bone himself, and then wraps it up the best he could in some sheets, before finally bringing her to her family. Needless to say, the damage had been done, and she died a few weeks later from gangrene that we believe was due to Judge. The interesting thing with Sarah,
Hold on, change the angle.
the interesting thing about Sarah is that she would come to play with Marilyn every day for weeks after she passed. Marilyn went her whole life, even on her deathbed, saying 100%, Sarah came to see me all those days. Marilyn would be here playing around, playing tag, playing chase with no one, up in the barn playing all by herself. The town starts noticing, they start whispering, gets back around to Judge, makes him mad, tells her to knock it off, get over it, she's gone already. Oh, Dad, Sarah's right here, right now, telling you hi. How can you not see her? So Sarah, she's definitely one of my favorites, but she's also one of the few that are the friendliest out here, but she also gets physical. She's known to like give your hair a tug or give you a little pinch. And when it's quiet, you can hear footsteps running off or hear her giggling. She's known to throw like little pebbles across the courtyard. She's even been known to turn on that coin-operated car in the corner. Sarah, are you with us tonight? If you're here, just say hi. Why don't you turn that car on for us? Let us know. I'm here to say hi to you. I did find out during the summer they've been unplugging it, but I don't think Sarah needs electricity. Is anybody brave enough to play a game to see if we can get Sarah to come say hi? Yeah. We've got a couple we can do, no pressure. We can do Ring Around the Rosie. I just need like 3 volunteers. I don't blame y'all. I had some people last week and they all like simultaneously just like, nope.
Come on, everybody's chicken.
So this whole place is at least great for pictures. This whole courtyard, pretty much. But the window that Sarah fell out of, right next to the dugout sign, we get her up there a lot. The hanging tree, all kinds of weird stuff. Ropes, nooses, bases, full body apparitions. We'll get Judge Doering in his window sometimes, but I don't think we will tonight. We'll probably get something up there.
Yes.
And then we get weird stuff in these windows. Like I said, pretty much the whole courtyard. Can anybody guess what this building used to be? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I just heard like 3 inches and 2 of them were right on. I just heard jail and bank.
Yeah.
How do y'all do that? Is it just the shape? I think it's the awning that throws everybody off. If you look at our jail, it looked just like this. It wasn't connected. It was all by itself. But it was all brick, no insulation, no ventilation, nowhere you wanted to hang out. There was only one cell. It was very small and cramped. And it'd be like 120 degrees during the summertime in there. They said, nowhere you want to be. Well, you think one cell would be enough for 100 people, but we had no gentlemen. So we needed more than one. They ended up building one across town. That's now Jailhouse Saloon. They put a whole 2 cells in. Huge upgrade. So after they moved over there, they converted this to the First Town Bank. And when it was our bank, it had been robbed a couple of times. But the second time was robbed by a pretty famous pair. And can anybody guess? It's exactly who y'all think it is. That's right, Bonnie and Clyde. They actually came through here a few weeks before they were killed in Louisiana. I get they had family out here in spring, and I guess it makes sense. They had like a lot of action in Conroe. They had like their own bridge that they would hide under. And they were actually a few miles out on some of those farmers' roads, and they were barely roads. They were like mud paths. Back then, you know, the tires on those cars were like real skinny, like bicycle tires. So they're slipping and sliding, and they eventually get stuck. They're panicking, trying to get unstuck, trying to dig themselves out, and they're struggling for like an hour. So a farmer finally rides by on his horse, he ties him up, pulls him right out. He's very thankful. Oh my God, thank you. Can I pay you? Can I do anything for you? He's like, nah, you gotta get out of here. They didn't even know. He didn't even know who he was talking to until 2 or 3 weeks later when he got that newspaper saying famous pair, Bonnie and Clyde, shot dead in Louisiana. He's like, oh my God, I should have tried to stop them on their reign. At the very least, ask for some of that money, which is what I would have done. I didn't see anything, just took me up. So they get unstuck. They end up right here at the edge of town. They look over, they see the bank. Should we? It's kind of what we do. Pulled up and parked right here. Came running in, guns blazing, shooting the whole place up. They shot the bank teller and the bank manager. Killed them both instantly. They stole about $7,500 out of the safe, which you can still come see. Doesn't sound like a ton of money, but in today's rates, it was like $250,000. One of their calling cards after they would rob the place is they would run out front and just blast the whole front of the building with bullets. The more y'all look, the more you'll see. The awning covers a lot. There's a lot on top and underneath. But the most obvious one is this one right here. Welcome to put your finger in a piece of history. They'll start popping up on you, and you can tell, like, those dark ones are screw holes. I believe that's one. You'll start seeing these patches everywhere. They're all over the place. They still, to this day, won't say anything about Bonnie and Clyde. It's just the famed robbery. And I kind of get it, you know, it's like a cute little shopping town. But if y'all ever come to Malot's, Mr. Malott will tell y'all all about it. He's a really cool guy. And it's one of my favorite shops for like the paranormal. The crystals and stones, he's got the best prices. So they do haunt the banks that they've robbed, but they don't come here a lot. The spirit we do get here often is Gunther, and he was our bank manager. He was in the back in the office. When all that commotion started happening, he took one step out when they shot him right between the eyes. So that office in the back is a huge hotbed. So much so where the employees don't even want to go back there. If you're back there long enough, stuff starts moving around, falling off the desk on its own. But in the corner of the office, you'll see a shadow figure standing there watching you. If you look at him directly, he vanishes. You get back to work, a few minutes later, he's there again. And this is the whole time you're in that office. He loves to show himself in reflections. This whole place is like glass shelves and mirrored shelves. You'll be in there shopping and you just see a reflection over your shoulder standing there looking at you. It always looks like he's got a bowler hat. It seemed to be his look. There's some pictures of him in the museum at the front of town, and he always seemed to have a bowler hat on. We even get some activity around back from our ghost hunter. He says if you bring a little travel bottle of liquor, crack it open, and put it on the back porch, in 5 minutes it will be empty. This is my chance to tell y'all that it's Gunther, but in my mind it's the cats and the raccoons. That's why they hang around. That's why we have so many. Their little hands, I can only imagine.
Oh, hi. I didn't realize I had to go for me. You want a picture of it? It's cool. Here. Wait, hold on, I got it. They said you can kind of see it back here. Face there. It was right on it a second ago. Yeah, it's only right there. When I put my camera up on there and I didn't see it before I did it, and I was like, okay, that's yeah. So you have to get the light just right.
The Wunsche Brothers was built by Charlie and Dale Wunsche. They saw a need for a place to party, but really they needed a place to hide all of their moonshine. Doering was the biggest distributor. These guys were the biggest producers. They're making a ton of it. This is one of the first buildings they built with a balcony on it. Can anybody guess why they may have needed that? I think one of y'all guessed it at the last spot. This was our first brothel. So they'd have ladies up top kind of enticing you to come in and spend some money, get a drink, get a milkshake. And we ripped it off from the red light district. It's pretty much a straight up rip off. Well, Charlie and Dale, they were huge pranksters. It's like all they did was prank people. We believe we're still being pranked by Charlie to this day. And we're actually really lucky. Y'all don't even know how lucky you are. See the upstairs on the white part of the building with the red light in that right-hand window? So that light, it's a nod to the red light district, but it's kind of shows you where Charlie's room was. But that light was off. It's off more than it's on. It's supposed to be on 24/7. I'll be honest, and I have been seeing them turn it off for the summertime, but even during the day, it's off more than it's on. Everybody in town knows. They'll go tell the owner, hey, red light's off again. He'll go up there to check it, and it pretty much turns back on in its face. And this is like back and forth several times a day. It's constant. If y'all leave out this way, come take a peek. It's probably going to be off. So Charlie died in 1950 at the age of 80. He's pretty good for a guy partying like him. My only guess is he wasn't using his lead bathtub. Dale died a couple years before. He was just kind of like running the place. So it stayed empty for several years until the mid-1950s when a lady bought it and turned it into a hotel and a burger shop. And almost anybody that came and slept in Charlie's room was almost guaranteed not to sleep through the night. First person was up there by himself, middle of the night. He hears these booming, loud, heavy footsteps, like right on top of him. When he opened his eyes and turned and looked, there was a coat and a top hat floating at the foot of his bed. He didn't stick around. He grabbed his stuff, told the manager what he saw, and hopped on a train. The manager blew him off like he was a drunk, whatever. The next person, same thing, similar thing. 2, 3 in the morning, he wakes up to somebody getting in a bed next to him. When he turned and looked, there was nobody there, but he could see the indentation in the mattress of a body there. As much as I live for this stuff, I love it. There's a line, and that crosses it. I'm not lying, I'd be on the train. I'm not going to pretend like I'm tough. So all this is happening, nobody wants to stay here anymore, and they end up closing because of it. And it stays empty this time for a good while until the late 1980s, when they turned it into Wunsche Brothers. And this is where it gets really good to me, because opening night, things are off the rails. The servers' books would come up missing or move to the opposite side of the building. The salt and pepper shakers on the table would burst, sending salt and pepper everywhere. The sodas in the beer taps would turn on and off by themselves, a lot of times just emptying in the middle of the night. But the biggest thing has always been the footsteps here. When they first opened, they were convinced somebody was up there like hiding or squatting. So they'd try to run up there and catch them and never see anything. They ended up roping off upstairs with guests. It don't seem to make it worse. A year or so of this, they just said, hey, we're haunted. They don't seem to mean any harm. We're just going to roll with it. And now they have fully embraced it. If y'all ever go in there and eat, ask the whole staff their story. They've all got something different. Some of their stories or pictures are almost undeniable. This is a really active place. As you can imagine, it was a pretty popular place, and I'm sure a lot of unsavory people were in and out of there. This is actually a state landmark. So when they opened it as Wunsche Brothers, they added that right side on. It's a newer addition, but that left side is original. They've had to do some siding replacement, some code enforcements, but the floors, the walls, the bones, all original. 2016, we had some good old vandals driving by, and they threw a Molotov cocktail through that right side window. And it was an inferno. You can YouTube it. It was bad. There was nothing left of that right side. The left side just had minor smoke damage. You could paint right over. We believe that was Charlie protecting his building. 2018 to 2020, they rebuilt that right side, and now it's gorgeous. It's worth checking out. But they had to do some work to that joining wall. When they opened that up, they found a hidden compartment full of mason jars with homemade liquor that we believe was Charlie and Dale's. The floors, the walls haven't been touched. We believe there's many more hiding spots in there. I just hope I get to see. I hope I'm still around when they get in there. I'll even be a taste tester. It's not like it's good. It's going to be the ergot batch with my luck.
It's made in a lead bathtub. It's all good.
Yeah, lead, ergot. And it's not like it's aging.
Can't get any worse.
So I always feel like I'm forgetting something here. There's so much to talk about. There's so many spirits trapped here. There's a guy that tends to follow women to the women's restrooms. The only reason I'm sticking with that story is that when they remodeled, they changed the bathrooms to a complete back, and he still does it. There's a little girl that's trapped there. Her mom worked here, and she had to bring her to work a lot of times. And she just kind of became everybody's work daughter. They looked after her. But people would see her running through across these windows at the middle of the night, along the sides too. So much activity here. When they're closed, they pick up stuff on the video cameras all the time. It's a pretty cool place. So both places definitely have activity, but I like to recommend to at least get the left side to get the whole building, and then the balcony, and then Charlie's window. Because we get ladies of the night up there on the balcony. A lot of times you can see like detail in their dresses, and we get Charlie in his window all the time. All right, well, I know this one's not a lot to look at. It's been through a lot. There's a reason it's across the street from the fire department. It's been our problem child. It started life as our ice house. After it was our ice house, they converted it into a kitchen, and it was a kitchen for a row of 3 houses that are pretty much where that Freemason building is behind me. They were all kind of stacked right on top of each other. Pretty much how the whole town is. Up to 100 guys could stay in those houses at a time. And so many, they were boarding houses for the railroad. There's so many of those guys passed out here from exhaustion in the elements. It was really, really rough out here. A lot of death. This is kind of where it all started for spring. When the railroad came down, this is where they set up camp. A lot of activity tied to this area. If y'all enjoyed it out here and you wanted to come back and do your own little investigation, which is totally cool, everything we went to today is public. Help yourself. But I would start right here. And all you really need for a ghost hunting equipment is your phone. Just use voice record or video. And I would just start walking those tracks and asking questions. You'll probably get answers. So when it was our kitchen, it had a kitchen fire and it burned down. After that, they turned it into a public restroom. Until we had some more good old vandals coming in here playing with fire, and that burned down. After that, they turned it into an office for one of the owners of Puffabellies. They had it for years. It was nice. It had like a couch, it had a satellite dish. It was pretty nice in there. Until some rats got in there chewing on some wires, started a spark, and that burned down. This roof is only like a year old. Once we were done, y'all see there's a barbecue pit in there, the whole length of this building. But when they built that, they put this roof up. But about 3 years ago, they had a real roof with shingles, looked like a real building. That got struck by lightning, and that burned down. So it's a great idea to put a barbecue pit in here.
Done a tree to put this here, but
So it is a used pit, but they haven't fired it up yet, which is probably because it's going to be super hot in there. So when it was our ice house, the Ice Master, very popular, very successful. Of course, it's hot out here. We need some ice. Everybody in town used him. People used him for their perishables. Saloon owner used him for his patrons. He's a pretty popular guy. He would bring him in on the train every day in these big, giant blocks. He had this place double insulated, and he would try to stack them up the best he could to make it last through the day. So y'all remember talking about Whitehall at the very beginning, about the mortician? He was kind of in charge of helping everybody the best he could. So some guys came up to him one hot summer day of 1919. Said, hey, we haven't seen our friend in over a week. He doesn't get around very well. He's a little bit older. He's supposed to keep in touch. We just can't find him. Can you help us track him down? Yeah, sure. You can count on me. I'll start at his house. We'll go from there. He gets to that man's house about 10 yards away, and he just gets smacked in the face with the smell of rotting corpse. He knew when he smelled it, that body had probably been in there for a while, and he knew there was no way of bringing this to my house. So he had to think of a place to put it and sort it out until the morning. His first idea was to come to the ice house. The ice master said, what? No, have you lost your mind? This is my business. Get lost. He practically starts begging him, please, you're my only hope. I have this body out of here first thing in the morning. Nobody will ever even know it's here. Sweeten the pot, I'll give you everything I've got. Come on, man. The ice master thinks about it. He says, fine, okay, I'll do it. But you have to be here before the saloon owner comes to get his daily ice. I said, yeah, sure, you can count on me, no problem. I'll be there. Well, that next morning comes and goes. He had overslept. He missed his window. The ice master's in here pacing, head in his hands, trying to figure out what am I going to do now? It's my livelihood, it's my business. Probably getting kicked out of town. Hell, I'll probably go into jail. Pacing, trying to figure it out, when he hears a knock on the door. And he freezes because he knows whoever's on the other side of that door can smell what's going on in there. Keep in mind, his body is basically turning into liquid. All the blood, the bile, all the good stuff is dripping everywhere. It's a mess. It's bad. So he gathers up some courage. He goes to the door, and he answers. And it's the saloon owner coming to get his daily ice. Another guy from Spring, no gentleman. He looks at the ice master, looks over his shoulder, you see that body just kind of doing its thing. He's back at the ice master, back at that body, back at the ice master and just shrugs. Walks right around him, starts chipping off some of the cleanest pieces of ice he could find, which at this point wasn't much. So he filled his bag, he goes on his way. And it is said that he served that ice to his patrons. He would chip it up real fine and put it in glass and serve like lemonade over it. All that blood in the vial would tinge the lemonade pink. So if y'all are ever back out here eating, skip the pink lemonade. At least now we have standards of practice, but it's freaking disgusting. So the saloon owner goes on his way, the mortician shows up, freaking out, mile a minute. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I overslept. I didn't hear the train. What are we gonna do? The ice master grabs him by the shoulder and says, look, buddy, I think we got away with this. I think we're okay. From that day to the day the ice house closed, they stored a total of 9 more bodies on the ice. It became overflow for the mortician. And as far as we know, the town never even found out. I don't know how. They weren't drinking water. I could tell they're drinking a lot of ice water. So, y'all want to walk through? Just watch y'all step.
There's a big barbecue.
You know, checking out that building?
Yeah,
Everybody's
the
glass.
art and stuff.
It's a really cool building. It's really cool owners too. We've got over 200 local artists with all kinds of like heady art, tie-dye classes. It's a really cool place.
Oh, that's cool.
And they have free beer. He
Wanna
tells
look
me to
here?
tell y'all that. Made a big old square around town. I remember talking about Whitehall. So when the husband died, or when the ghost bride died and the husband lived, the reason we believe he died of a broken heart is that he put in his will that he wanted to be cremated and his ashes scattered all in the courtyard so he could be at the place with his loved one. So when those hippies built an empty room, they kind of wanted to make that like a permanent thing, keep that peace long term. So they did a lot of ceremonies and rituals. They put a lot of various religious figurines in the courtyard and inside. Can't really see from all the bushes, but in the very corner of the courtyard there is an archway. But then if you see these entrances at both of these gates, they have these lions. They're actually gargoyles. They don't have to be ugly or evil looking. They're just a symbol of power for protection. And if you look close enough, we have symbols like that all over town. Well, that was my tour. I appreciate y'all. I hope you had a good time. At the very least, it's got a unique way to see the town. It's pretty unique. There's so much more to talk about. I couldn't even do it in two more tours, I don't think. This whole town. So we have the ghost hunt out here with Mark. He's awesome. He's a professional. He's got his own YouTube channel. We provide all the equipment. If y'all ever been to Herman Park over there by the zoo, and it's cool during the day, but man, at night, you got to go check it out. And Amethyst is out there, and she's amazing. Had a good time. You could just go in there real quick, tell him Michael was awesome. If you didn't have a good time, go in there and say Mark was awful. He's our ghost hunter, and he does it to me. Don't feel bad. Before y'all go, I have to show y'all the ghost bride. It's my best picture. Kind of see her looking
Oh,
that
wow.
way.
Yeah, like a De Los Muertos kind of look.
I won't even try to say it right.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys. We actually really loved this tour. So if you haven't been, I highly recommend Houston Ghost Tours. Check them out. I should have their information in the description down below. And it was a lot of cool history. There were some neat spooky stories about Old Town Spring, and he said there's way more. So thank you so much to Mike, our tour guide. You were awesome, and we really appreciate you. And honestly, our whole group was great, but a little bit of there's a little hint of scaredy catness in there because yeah, we were excited to be there. I think some people might have been a little more apprehensive, but you know us. We love a good ghost tour. We haven't ever seen one. But we enjoy the stories, and we enjoy getting a chance to learn the history, and it's always so much fun too. So if you haven't had a chance yet, make sure to smash that thumbs up real quick though, and share this out. Do any of you guys know of any of the ghost tours? Have y'all been on one? Has there been any spooky things that you've seen happen? Comment down below, let us know, and tell us your side of things. Till next time, make sure to catch us Tuesdays at 7 p.m. on M3, if I can get that with my left hand. CJ Peterson, our amazing resident author, Yuki Cosplay, of course, our cosplayer extraordinaire, and me and Mombierella get together every Tuesday and do interviews and have fun and talk about awesome things that you don't want to miss. We've got some really cool interviews actually coming up this season, so don't miss it out. Miss out on that. Blah. Again, English. And till next time, guys. Love y'all, and well, let it go. Keep moving forward. Have a magical day. See you next time, guys. Bye. Happy spooky season.